Find out what's going on. All right, TikTok is US sale final, majority American ownership deal and restructuring. It's been in the works for a while. Trump held it up. He wanted instead of just shutting it down and making enemies of a lot of TikTokers, he uh he worked it out. What do you think? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You don't care. You wasn't worried about the Chinese stealing your information or not? What's going on here? All right, after years of warning, hearings, and threats of ban, TikTok U.S. operations have been sold and reorganized under a majority American ownership. The deal ends one chapter, yet opens another. On paper, this looks like a national security win. ByteDance no longer controls TikTok in the United States. American investors now hold the largest stake. U.S. data is stored on U.S. servers. Oracle oversees cloud infrastructure. This is the headlines. The story is a lot deeper. Control is not only about stock certificates, control is about code, culture, and conditioning. So, what is your take on this so far? Please like, share, subscribe, follow, leave a comment. All right, background and drivers of the sale, TikTok, USDS, JV information details. All right, let's get to that. All right, background and drivers of the sale. What started it? We know there was concern, and I believe rightfully so, that the Chinese might be one thing. They are definitely using the platform to indoctrinate. They're using the platform to use total foolishness that goes on TikTok, but yet constrain other activities. You can see that on Blue Star and Blue Sky or whatever it is on the others. Something to consider. TikTok was never just about an amp. It was different in three ways. First, it captured attention at scale. Over 170 million Americans use it. I'm using it right now. That is more than the number who voted in the last election. America, we are in trouble. Second, it shaped behavior through algorithms design. TikTok does not show what you search for. It shows what it decides you should see. And that is the control. Third, it was owned by a Chinese company under Chinese law. Chinese companies must cooperate with the Chinese Communist Party when asked. That combination set off alarms in Washington. That was not about dance videos, it was about influence. During a time of conflict, which could be coming soon between the United States, the world, and Taiwan versus China, this will have it would have had an input in the lives of America. They control the kill switch and all that other stuff. Overview: TikTok's U.S. operations before the sale, national security concerns leading to the divest or ban law, key legal and political developments leading up to 2026. The sale restructures TikTok's U.S. business into a new company with majority American ownership. ByteDance now holds a minority share or stake under the legal limit. U.S. firms control governance. U.S. servers host the data. U.S. regulators oversee compliance. In theory, this moves direct Chinese control. In practice, three questions remain. Who controls the algorithm? Who controls software updates? Who controls long-term culture inside the company? Those questions matter more than stock percentages. Was there a real change? We shall see. Before the sale, TikTok had rapidly become one of the most popular social media platforms in the United States, with over 150 active monthly users as of early 2023. It operated under Chinese parent company ByteDance, but maintained several US-based offices focusing on content moderation, marketing, and partnerships. Despite its success, TikTok faced increasing scrutiny from the US regulators concerned about data privacy and national security risk related to its Chinese ownership. TikTok Power has never been its brand name. It has been its recommendation engine. The algorithm learns what holds attention. It feeds it back faster. Over time, it shapes taste, politics, humor, and behavior and beliefs. An amp that controls attention can tilt culture without issuing orders. That is why governments worry about it. Influence does not need propaganda if it can guide emotions. If the algorithm still originates overseas or is shared through technical agreements, then the sale is only partial. Things are still in the hands of the Chinese, possibly. Data location matters, but code origin matters more. Where are we going to get the influence? What are they going to be doing to the platform, and what access they're going to have, U.S. policymakers raised concern that TikTok's data on American users could be accessed by the Chinese government, posing risk to national security. These fears culminated in legislation that mandated foreign-owned apps with access to large volumes of U.S. user data either divest of their U.S. operations to American owners or face outright bans. Intelligent reports, highlighted potential data misuse and the platform's algorithmic influence as vectors for foreign interference. And I agree with that. This scale marks a turning point. For the first time, the United States forced a foreign tech platform to restructure or leave. First time in known history. And then, this is always a first for a first, huh? This is not free market capitalism. You cannot hang yourself by that. You need fair trade, not just free trade. This is digital sovereignty. It sends a signal to every tech company on earth. If you shape American minds, you must answer to American law. Europe is watching. China is watching. Every social platform is watching. This is the beginning of a world where data, speech, and influence are treated like territory. From 2020 to 2026, a series of executive orders, congressional hearings, and court rulings shaped TikTok's operational realities. Legal challenges by ByteDance and negotiation with the U.S. government delayed immediate action, but persistent bipartisan pressure intensified. By 2026, new legislation solidified the framework for divestment, triggering negotiations for ownership, restructuring, and joint ventures with the U.S. companies. Even under new ownership, TikTok still promotes trends that weaken attention, reward shock, and flatten meaning. The platform thrives on speed, not reflection, reaction, not wisdom, fame, not character. Ownership alone does not change incentives. A tool built to addict will still addict. A system built to fragment will still fragment. The real question is not who owns TikTok. The real question is who owns the values behind it. ByteDance agreement and transfer control structure of the newly formed TikTok U.S. joint venture LLC. Timeline and process of the ownership. Supporters say the sale protects free expression while securing national interests. Critics say it only creates the illusion of safety. Both miss something important. Freedom requires more than access, it requires discernment. A society can lose itself even when its platforms are domestically owned. Influence does not need foreign flags to do damage. The battle is not China versus America. It is truth versus it is truth versus manipulation. ByteDance agreed to transfer operational control of TikTok's U.S. business to the new joint venture, TikTok USDS LLC, in compliance with U.S. regulations. The agreement limited ByteDance voting power and operational influence while securing a minority equity stake. The arrangement aimed to balance regulatory demands with ByteDance interest in maintaining some economic ties to the U.S. market. Expect more actions like this. More pressure on foreign on platforms, more scrutiny of algorithms, more talk of digital borders. This is not a one-off event. This is a model. Governments are learning that culture is now infrastructure. Whoever shapes attention shapes nation. TikTok's sale proves has that lesson has landed. TikTok USDS LLC was structured to feature majority American ownership with Oracle and Silver Lake as principal U.S. stakeholders, holding controlling interests. ByteDance retained a minority share kept at under 20%, with governance rules on data access and management. The joint venture establishes an independent board dominated by American executives to ensure compliance with national security protocols. We keep arguing about ownership. We avoid asking why so many people surrender hours of life to an amp. A nation does not weaken because of foreign code. It weakens when it forgets discipline, purpose, and truth. No law can fix that. Platforms amplify what people already hunger for. If a society craves noise, it will get noise. If it craves meaning, it will demand tools. The transfer process finally began in early 2026 and concluded by mid-year after multiple regulatory approvals from CFIUS and other agencies. The timeline included phased handover of data control systems, staffing realignments, and compliance audits. Key milestones encompass contract signing, operational audits by Oracle, and final board formation. Roles of Oracle, Silver Lake, and MGX, ByteDance, minority stake, and legal cap. Impact of majority American ownership on governance. Oracle invested over $2 billion, serving as a primary technology partner responsible for security hosting U.S. user data. Silver Lake contributed substantial equity and governance expertise, focuses on financial and operational oversight. MGX emerged as a strategic stakeholder with minority ownership, adding market intelligence and advisory capabilities. Together, these partners embody the American majority ownership, ensuring data security and operational independence. Under these terms, ByteDance ownership in TikTok USDS is legally capped at 19.9%, preventing effective control complying with U.S. national security legislation. This minority stake entitles ByteDance to economic benefits that restrict its ability to influence U.S. operations or corporate governance decisions, reflecting a regulatory compromise between market participation and security concerns. The majority American ownership structure introduced new governance practices focused on transparency, compliance, and American regulatory oversight. The board is dominated by independent American members tasked with overseeing data security practices and strategic decisions. This guidance shifts aims to rebuild trust among U.S. regulators and users while mitigating risks limited to foreign influence. Oracle committed to a multi-billion-dollar investment, making it the leading technology partner. Its strategy involvement spanned cloud infrastructure, provision, security architecture, design, and implementation of advanced encryption protocols for TikTok US user data. Oracle also governs data access policies jointly with the Joint Ventures Board, positioning it as the cornerstone of TikTok's USDS security framework. As a designated data custodian, Oracle hosts a complete copy of TikTok US user data on its secure cloud servers within the United States. It enforces strict access controls, continuous monitoring, and audit trails to prevent unauthorized data access. This custody arrangement is central to meeting regulatory demands that sensitive user data never be accessible from outside the United States. Following the joint venture formation, TikTok USDS implemented enhanced privacy measures, including end-to-end encryption, zero trust security models, and real-time threat detection. Oracle security upgrades reduced potential vulnerabilities by over 40%, is reported, according to independent audits, significantly elevating the platform's resilience to cyber threats and data breaches. Debates over ByteDance retain influence, concerns about control of technology and algorithms, potential regulatory and operational changes ahead. Despite ByteDance minority stake, debate continues around the extent of its retained influence over TikTok's content, policies, and user data. Critics argue that indirect access to or the algorithm influence could persist, while defenders emphasize strict operational safeguards and governance restriction in place. This tension fuels ongoing congressional scrutiny and public skepticism. Concerns lingers regarding potential foreign influence over TikTok's core algorithms, which shape content and recommendations and user engagement. The joint venture has committed to the transparency and independent audits of its code, but technological control remains a sensitive issue, influencing future regulatory actions and technological policies. Looking forward, TikTok USDS faces an evolving regulatory landscape with increasing oversight on data privacy, content moderation, and foreign ownership restriction. Potential changes could include stricter compliance requirements, enhanced transparency mandates, and operational adjustment to further limit foreign interference risks. These changes will shape TikTok US strategy and operational model in the coming years. So we have outlined, the journey that TikTok USA is on, the sale, the legal, political, and security factors that should shape the majority American ownership. What do you think? Tell me what you think. What direction will TikTok go? Would it be Blue Star, Twitter, X, Facebook? What type of platform you think is going to be in the near future? Are you looking forward to it, or do you don't care? So, sum it all up. TikTok has been sold. That resolves one legal problem. It does not solve the moral one. We protected data. We have not protected attention. We have secured servers. We have not secured souls. Technology will always follow power. Culture will always follow beliefs. The real sale that matters is not TikTok stock. It is whether we sell our judgment along with our time. And that decision is still ours. God bless, and I hope to hear from you.